Hi, this is Joseph Surah, and I'm starting the Surah from the verse 19. A caravan passed by and soon sent their water. He let down to his bucket, then said, "Here, how lucky, there is a boy here." They took him along as merchandise, and God was fully aware of what they did. So it's just important. It's like a slavery. They sold him for a cheap price, a few dirhams, for they didn't have any need for him. The criticism is they bought it and they didn't really actually need. It's like also explaining, giving more information about slavery, for they didn't have any need for him. So they don't even need this. They just buy another human being. They buy the freedom of another human being. The one who bought him in Egypt said to his wife, "Take good care of him. Maybe he can help us, or maybe we can adopt him." We thus established Joseph on earth, and we taught him the interpretation of dreams. God's command is always done, but most people do not know. When he reached maturity, we endowed him with wisdom and knowledge. We thus reward the righteous. So he knows, we taught him in the so maybe this environment also allows him to learn about things. And here we can see in this verse, it's not super clear, it's not clear. When he reached maturity, we endowed him with wisdom and knowledge. We thus reward the righteous. So it's like, and being teenagers has something to do with intelligence too. The lady of the house, and it's interesting, reach maturity. After this, it's being attractive. The lady of the house where he lived tried to seduce him. She closed the doors and said, "I'm all yours." He said, "May God protect me, he is my Lord, who gave me a good home." The transgressors never succeed. So here, the God gave the house. It's important. God gave the house, not them. She almost succumbed but to him, and he almost succumbed to her, if it weren't that he saw a proof from his Lord. We thus averted evil and sin away from him, for he was one of our devoted servants. The two of them raced towards the door, and in the process she tore his garment from the back. They found her husband at the door. She said, "What should be the punishment for the one who wanted to molest your wife, except imprisonment or painful?" So here, interestingly, so we know that they're sort of important people, like in the Moses story. So they have higher status, and they're richer than average person, I guess, in this story. And they may teach Joseph some things here too. So here in this, previously, I think that something is missing, that education of Joseph. And it is not directly referred in this surah, but I think this house also provides him education. We don't know about it from the Quran, but maybe possibility. There's a possibility. And there are some forensic analysis attempts here. He says, "She's the one who tried to seduce me." A witness from her family suggests that if the garment is torn from the front, then she's telling the truth, and he's a liar. And if his garment is torn from the back, then she lied, and he's telling the truth. When her husband saw that this garment was torn from the back, he said, "This is a woman's scheme. Indeed, your scheming is formidable." Joseph disregarded this incident. "As for you, you should seek forgiveness for your sin. You have committed an error." Some women in the city gossiped. This is related to forensic sciences. The governor's wife is trying to seduce her servant. She is deeply in love with him. We see that she has gone astray. When she heard of their gossip, she invited them, prepared for them a comfortable place, and gave each of them a knife. She then said to him, "Enter the room." When they saw him, they so admired him that they cut their hands. They said, "Glory be to God. This is not a human being, this is an honorable angel." She said, "This is the one you blamed me for falling in love with. I indeed tried to seduce him, and he refused. Unless he does what I command him to do, he will surely go to prison and will be debased. He said, My Lord, the prison is better than giving it to them. Unless you divert their scheming from me, I may desire them and behave like the ignorant ones. Here is like and also we see that there are witnesses, and and those witnesses also know the issue, and those witnesses can be used to. It's more like admitting his fault, her fault, and maybe it can cause him to get caught later. His Lord answered his prayer and diverted their scheming from him. He is the hearer, the omniscient. Later they saw to it, despite the clear proofs, that they should prison him for a while. 2 young men were in prison with him. So there are 3 prisoners. So he chose the prison as thinking that it is better than committing a sin, and that will be gross offense according to the Quran. It's also consistent with the Quran, so you cannot have relationship with someone married without if they should divorce, and this is like their child also. Another thing, they raise him and as a slave and like a servant. 2 young men were in the prison with him. One of them said, I saw that I was making wine, and the other said, I saw myself carrying bread on my head, from which the birds were eating. Inform us the interpretation of these dreams. We see that you are righteous. He said, if any food is provided to you, I can inform you about you before you receive it. This is some knowledge bestowed upon me by Lord. I have forsaken the religion of people who do not believe in God, and with regard to the hereafter they are really disbelievers. And I followed instead the religion of my ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We never set up any idols beside God. Such is the blessing from God upon us and upon the people, but people are unappreciative. So another thing in this story is that he is not always saying good things about their dreams. It's not like a wishful thinking, wishful guessing. All my prison mates are several gods better or God alone, the One, the Supreme. You do not worship beside him except innovations that you made up, and your parents. God has never authorized such idols. All ruling belong to God. This is important, and he has ruled that you should not worship except him. This is the perfect religion, but most people do not know. All my prison mates. So I'm telling the interpretation of the dream later. So here, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So God gave future as a miracle, and if they spread the religion. So what we see here, he's first spreading the religion and then telling the future. You do not worship beside him except innovation. So this is the perfect religion. Most people do not know. So the miracle here is that Joseph is telling them the future and what will happen in the future. All my prison mates, one of you will be the wine bottler for his Lord, while the other will be crucified. The birds will eat from his head. This settles the matter about which you have inquired. So, and then this story can be itself a miracle for other people too, because the story can be this. They can tell it to other people too. So let me remind this surah to you, Jin's surah, I guess. This is the God only gave future if they so anyway, so you can check the last verses of the Jinn surah, and God only opens future for prophets, and God is monitoring them, something like that. And so knowing the future is with a condition that they cannot manipulate the information, and they should spread religion. And this is for this, they're not knowing the future for their own profit, not to guess, not to earn much more money. So that's all I want to say in this video, and thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next video, and this is my interpretation of the Joseph Surah.